Delighted to be here with you for IJS Online Yoga Studio as we practice today. I want to welcome you to keep your video on or off as feels appropriate for you in our practice today. You can't see me. Can you see me now? I see me. No. Oy vey. Now you see me. That's wonderful. Yay! Okay. Continuing to cross fingers. Good. So if you have available to you totally optional props, but if you like them, if you have them, we will use perhaps a block, a strap, and a blanket today. So why don't we come on to the back and find yourself with soles of the feet on the floor and the knees bent. And this is a position known as constructive rest. So I'd like to ask you if it's okay for you to take your feet actually as wide as your mat. And then from there, turn the toes in just a little bit. And the knees might draw toward each other. They might even touch. If we were going to do this for longer, and I might suggest this at home if this is something you like, you can take a belt and belt your knees so that you don't have to work your thighs toward each other and stay there for 5 or 10 minutes. It's a beautiful rest for your low back. That's just an extra tip for later for the road. So if this is not comfortable for you, keep the feet parallel and the knees just up towards the ceiling for sure. But if you can draw the knees towards each other, that is beautiful, as I just said, to spread your low back. Take note how that feels across the back of the hips, the sacrum area. And you might take the palms to the belly and just rest the palms against the belly, feeling the belly expand into the palms as you inhale through the nose. And feeling the belly recede back towards the spine, toward the back body as you exhale through the nose. And you might keep the eyes open or closed as you prefer. Just beginning to make a separation between whatever you've been doing before this and this sacred time coming into our practice. We're soon about to make separation between one Hebrew month and the next as we move into Rosh Chodesh this evening. Simply breathing, feeling, allowing, noticing what's here. With each exhale, you might allow the body to become a little bit heavier, a little more released and surrendered to the floor. And take a quick scan through the body. Just briefly note what feels harmonious, safe, spacious, and any places that might feel contentious. I think I'm back. Lisa says everyone should turn off their video. It will help. Let's try that. My sincerest apologies to you. So part of our practice is, of course, with working with the unexpected. We'll try our best. I had it all mapped out. So right leg extended, and then the left knee falling out to the side, and then coming back to center. Now to the side. Externally rotating and back to center. One more time out to the side. And just pause in this tree pose. Notice one leg, the right leg parallel, and the left leg in this external rotation. And then draw it back to center. And bend both knees, soles of the feet onto the floor. And you could remain here if you like while I teach, or come up to a comfortable seat. Okay, it sounds like some have both, some have sound. Again, my apologies, and we'll do our best today. We have some nice teaching ahead, so I hope it sticks. We're on the 29th of Cheshvan, as I said, the last day of the month, and Parashat Toldot. Ve'ele Toldot Yitzchak. This is the story or the history of Isaac. And the word is also related to the word for birth, nolad. And we're here to, in this parsha, we start unrolling the family of Isaac and Rebekah. And this is a very dysfunctional family, to say the least. Right? They really have contention and problems from the beginning. The Torah tells us that from the beginning, the children struggled in Rebekah's womb. They couldn't have been more different. You had Esau, the redhead, the hairy one, the Ish Sadeh, the hunter, the man of the field, and Yaakov, Jacob, Ish Tam, more tame, maybe more of an intellect, more cerebral, quieter. And they were deeply in conflict with each other from the very beginning. If you remember, Jacob from the beginning steals Esau's birthright in return for a bowl of stew. Okay. Looks like I lost you and got you back. So let me try again and hope this works. Okay, so now we have Rebekah involved in this trickery, right? Isaac tells Esau, "I'm old, my eyes are dim. Go out, go hunt, make me a wonderful meal. Come back, and I'll bless you before I die." He says, "Ba'avur tivarechecha nafshi," that I can bless you with my soul, And of course, Rebekah says to Jacob, "Hurry, you'll show up first and get the first blessing," and he does, right? And then Esau comes back. And he weeps. He weeps before his father. And the Torah tells us, he says, first he took away my birthright, and now he has taken away my blessing. And he says to his father, "Have you but one blessing, father?" Vayomer Esav el aviv, havracha achat hi lecha avi? Bracheni gam ani avi, bless me too.
Vayisa Esav kolo, and Esau lifted up his voice, Vayevk, and he cried. And we know that he gets a blessing. Of course, it's not as good. He's going to be serving Jacob. And for this, Jacob is in real trouble and ends up having to run for his life because Esau is out to kill him. But I return to this moment of Vayisa kolo vayevk, and he raised his voice and he cried. And I want to share with you some words about how we can soften to contention within ourselves and with the other. I think that's a big conversation right now. How we can soften around contention with the other. And this I want to share with you is from Lauren Bloomer, who is in Toronto, and it's from the book Good Noticing, which was in honor of Rabbi Sheila Peltz-Weinberg. And he writes on this parsha, the fierce hunter bereft of his father's blessing is reduced to weeping. And witness to his suffering, our hearts are invited to open. Right and wrong, guilt and innocence matter much less than they had a moment before. So might we open our hearts to strangers and intimates. For just as we might not have seen Esau's vulnerability beneath his bravado, so might the victims of our resentment have concealed their own yearning for blessing. A blessing it is in our power to bestow. In spite of our righteous anger, we can take a breath and another, and perhaps quiet ourselves and offer a blessing of peace, joy, loving kindness, compassion, or whatever is in us to give at this moment. Perhaps it will feel merely like words. Perhaps those words will shape a path to sincere intention. Then, the blessing having been offered, necessary conversations can begin from a more open-hearted place. And unnecessary confrontation can be left aside as we bring greater lightness into the world. I thought that was just beautiful, beautiful on this Torah portion. So let's stand. We're going to begin with warrior two pose. So taking the legs wide, we'll begin to the right side, turning the left toes in and the right toes out. The right heel in line with the left arch. And inhale the arms to shoulder height, palms facing down. Take the gaze over the right fingertips. Take a nice deep inhale and exhale as we track the knee forward, no further than the ankle. This warrior two, the pose of Esau, the pose of Esav the
Okay, somehow I got muted. Oh my goodness, this is really terrible. It muted itself. Okay, but some of you I think can see me, so we're on tree pose on the other side, shifting over to the left leg. Turning out the foot and bringing it in place wherever that is, whether it's to the ankle, the calf, the thigh. And pressing foot against leg, leg against foot to draw yourself in and up. And finding a soft gazing point. And again, just noticing within yourself what is restful and what feels a little bit contentious. And then as you're ready, releasing. It's interesting that I planned this class to talk about harmony and contention, and here we have a lot of technological contention. And again, I apologize for that. Try to just leave it on the edge, and if you lose me entirely, you can just keep with your own practice, and maybe it's a beautiful time to just practice from your own heart, and you can trust that. But if we're able to stay together, Be'ezrat Hashem, separate the legs. And we're going to look at triangle pose now. Again, to the right. So turning the left toes in and the right toes out. And again, the front heel in line with the back arch. And what do we have in this front leg? We have external rotation. The right thigh wrapping out and around, and the right sitting bone coming under you. Inhale the arms to shoulder height. And as you exhale, shift the hips to the left as you extend the torso to the right, bringing the hand down to the calf, the ankle, or potentially a block as the top arm comes up. Continuing to roll that right thigh out. Right sitting bone under you. The gaze might be forward or come up towards the ceiling. And then inhale, press into the feet, come on up. Switch sides. Right toes in, left toes out. Inhale, lift the arms shoulder height. And as you exhale, shift the hips to the right. Extend the upper body to the left. And the hand comes down. The arm, the top hand, the right hand could be on the hip, or it could extend up towards the ceiling. The gaze is forward, or the spine continues to spin all the way through the cervical spine, gazing up towards the ceiling. Once again, taking that left sitting bone under you, external rotation of that left thigh. Press into the feet, inhale, and come up. Right, so we've been looking at external rotation of each leg. I've been thinking of that as the Esau rotation. And now let's look at the Jacob rotation, internal rotation. So we're going to take the legs wide, and we're going to bend forward. You might like a block. You might be used to the chair. You might take your hands to the floor. You have all those options for modification. So the legs are wide. The toes, the outer edge of the feet against the parallel to the outer edges of the mat. And then you take the toes in just a little bit. So already you start to feel sort of a slight internal rotation at the upper thigh. Inhale and lift the heart. And as you exhale, we bend forward from the hips. And bring the hands to the chair, the block, the floor. So the thighs draw back, but there's also this slight inward rotation. Inhale, lengthen the spine, and as you exhale, fold forward over the legs if you like, if it's available to you. If the hands come to the floor, fingertips in line with the toes, folding over. So internal rotation for the majority of us. Now I want to add, if you're someone with very, very flexible hamstrings, this is where you begin to go the opposite way, making a little bit of external rotation of those upper thighs and tucking the sitting bones to protect your hamstrings from going too far. So that's only an instruction for those of you who have hypermobility or hyperflexibility in the legs. Otherwise, you just tune me out. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, take the hands to the hips. Inhale, lift to come up. And exhale, back to center. Step or jump the feet toward each other. And pause, mountain pose. Feet together or hip width apart. Extend those fingertips long by the sides. Pause and breathe and notice. We're going to come to the belly. So laying down on the mat, belly down, and just take a moment to stack the hands and lay the forehead against the back of the top hand. And take those thighs and rotate them a little bit internally. You might turn the toes in as well. And just feel once again, like we did at the beginning of class, how this makes a little bit of space across the low back. Breathe into the low ribs, into the low back. Feel the back body rising and falling. Almost like a parachute lifting, filling with air, filling with wind. Allowing the mind to quiet. And then take the hands in line with the upper chest. The fingertips are pointing forward. Take the elbows out to the side for a moment. Feel the shoulder blades widen. And then draw the elbows in towards the side ribs. Bring the shoulder blades toward each other and also down the back. Forehead on the ground. Lengthen through each leg all the way to the toes. Take an inhale. And as you exhale, draw the belly toward the spine, draw the tailbone long, root yourself long in the low back. And then as you inhale, begin to lift the forehead, draw the shoulders back, widen the collarbones and draw the heart forward, coming up to just a baby cobra. We're going to take this in a flow, so exhale and come back down. Inhale, hug the elbows in, send the heart forward, the tailbone long, and exhale, come down. 2 more times like this. Inhale, draw long to come up. And exhale, coming down. Inhale, lengthen and lift. Exhale, coming down. This time, inhale, come on up. And if you'd like, we're going to come forward to Sphinx pose, taking the forearms forward. Now, the closer in you have to the body, they are to the body, the more you will come up. So if you want less of an arch, you're going to bring the forearms forward. If you want more of an arch, You bring the elbows under the shoulders. Again, draw the shoulder blades together as you send the heart forward, the gaze forward. Continue to draw the low belly up and the tail down. Continue to smooth out the breath. And if you want to go even further, you might press into the hands and lengthen through the arms. And again, the further the arms are forward, the less of an arch you'll have. If you bring them back towards the body, you'll have more arch. So just working in this cobra wherever you like. And then slowly exhale and come down. Turn the head to the right and rest on your left cheek. And then take the right knee and draw it up to hip height, just parallel to the hip. The knee is bent. And pause here. This might be very comfortable and restful for some. It might not work as well for others. Might bring a lot of pull in the left psoas, right, deep into the belly. So you can kind of play with, if this is comfortable, where the leg wants to be. If it's not a comfortable position for you at all, because it's not for some, you may want to just bend the knees and take a little bit of easy windshield wipers instead. So listening in to your body for the right movement. And again, for some, this might feel like a beautiful rest. This position is known as half frog. And then coming back to center, pause a moment in the center. We're going to take half bow. So bending the right knee, and if it's available to you, taking hold of the top of the right foot or the ankle. And then inhale, lengthen the body. Begin to press the foot against the hand. Send the chest forward, the left arm forward, press the palm down. Just come up into a very baby half bow. And then slowly lower down, release. You can pull the right heel to the right buttock. And if the hand doesn't come to the foot, that's okay too. Just bend the knee slightly. Stretch a little through the front of the right leg, through the thigh, the quads. We'll take the other side. Bending the left knee, taking hold, the top of the foot or the ankle. Inhale, press the foot against the hand. Allow that to send you into a long arch as you begin to go long and then come up. So you want it even across the whole spine, pressing into the right palm, pressing the left foot into the left hand, and then slowly lower down. And once again, drawing heel to buttocks. And then slowly release. Turn the head to the left and rest on the right cheek. Draw the left knee up to hip height. And pause, half frog on the other side. Now this might work on one side and not as well on the other. Feel how it feels different side to side. Again, what's harmonious and what is contentious? And again, if this half frog pose is not pleasant in your body. Bend the knees. And this time you could take the same windshield wipers, or you could take little circles with the feet on the ceiling. One direction, the other direction. And then if you're in the half frog, sending the left leg back to meet the right. We're going to press into the hands and we're going to make our way to a seated position. I'm going to extend the legs long. You may want to prop up on a blanket. So legs out in front. If you have a strap, have it close by. That might be very nice. So legs long, take the palms and press them down into the blanket, lengthen the tailbone down and lift the heart up, finding an incredible amount of length, of dignity through the whole spine. The thighs are in parallel, right? So just the thigh bones dropping, neither externally nor internally rotated. If you have the strap, take the strap around the balls of the feet. We're not going to come forward, but we're just going to use it to sit up, pulling gently on the strap, widening the collarbones and lifting the heart. A very helpful aid in our effort here, pressing ball of the feet against the strap as we also pull the strap back toward us, really making like a ballerina sort of shelf across the upper chest. From here, we're going to bend through the right knee, take the right knee out to the side, and you can pull the sole of the foot very close into the groins or less so, depending again on your comfort in the groins and the hips. External rotation of that right leg, and if you've got the strap, once again, lifting up. So yet sort of another variation of this tree pose idea. We did it lying on the floor. We did it standing. You know, we have it in sort of a seated form. And of course, if you'd like to come more forward, start to fold forward, you can. But I'm using it in my own practice today as a neutralizer for the low back. So I offer it in that with that kavanah as opposed to the forward fold variation. And then we'll switch legs. So right leg extended. First bring the left knee up towards the ceiling. And then from there, external rotation of that left thigh and bring the sole of the foot in wherever you like. Strap around the ball of the foot. Inhale, lift the heart. Extend the ball of the foot into the strap as you pull on the strap. Then slowly release. Send both legs long one more time, just in and out. Rolling the feet in and out. And we'll take a little counter stretch, taking the hands behind you with the fingertips pointing back toward the buttocks. Bend the knees, take the soles of the feet to the floor. Inhale and lift the hips. You can keep the chin tucked or you can extend the head back, whichever's more comfortable for you. And then as you exhale, sit it back down. We're going to take this again in a little bit of a flow. Inhale, lift the hips, open the front body. Exhale, come back down. One more time. Inhale, lift, send the hips up. Exhale, coming down. Beautifully done. And now I invite us to move toward rest. So if you have another stretch or something that you missed, whether it's a pose or just some kind of improvised stretch, I invite you into a little bit of flow with that. And you can take your time. If you're ready to settle into stillness, find the Shavasana of your choice. I'm doing a modification with a blanket roll kind of under the upper thigh, could also come to the knee. Sometimes it's nice to have a chair under the calves if you like that one. And then laying back. Remove your glasses if you're wearing glasses. Palms facing up towards the ceiling, toward the sky. About 8 inches, 6 or 8 inches away from the body. And as you're ready, coming into stillness. Ricky asks for the drash again at the end, and I will definitely do that, so don't worry. Take time. Let everything fall away. Beginning to deepen the breath. Wiggle the fingers and the toes. Extend your arms overhead. Take a nice yawn, stretch. Draw the knees to the chest. Make your way over onto your side and coming up to sitting. We'll take a few more breaths. I know some of you have a very tight schedule and have to leave in one more minute. And so for those of you, I want to say Chodesh Tov. And if you have a few minutes to stay extra, I will re-deliver my words of Torah, my drash, because I know it got lost in the beginning of class. But in the meantime, just taking a few breaths, noticing how you feel. You might take one hand to the heart, one hand to the belly. And just taking this moment once again to notice what's in harmony and what's in contention. With a sincere wish for shlemut, for wholeness, for a harmony of being. But also in knowing that we can't always be in harmony of being. So a sincere wish to be able to understand how to talk to those voices within ourselves, to talk to the other with whom we don't agree, to be able to untangle these knots. Allowing the eyes to open. Shavua Tov, Chodesh Tov, as we will begin to move into Kislev. So if you're signing off, I wish you a beautiful week. I'll see you again next week. And if you're able to stay, I'll start from the beginning. So here's what I said, that we begin with, we're on Parashat Toldot. Ele Toldot Yitzchak. These are the stories of Yitzchak, or this is the history of Yitzchak. And that this family, Isaac, Rebecca, Esau, Jacob, are super duper dysfunctional. As we say in French, kind of a shit show, excuse me, right? So the children are struggled in her womb, the Torah tells us, right from the beginning. Jacob and Esau were at it with each other, right? Esau comes out, he's got reddish hair, he's hairy, he's Ish Sadeh, the man of the field, and Yaakov, Jacob, is the more cerebral one, Ish Tam. They couldn't be more different. And right from the beginning, right, you remember that scene where Jacob steals Esau's birthright, trades it to him for a bowl of stew. Right? We know that Rebecca plays into this whole thing. She favors Jacob from the start. That's not a great recipe within a family, favoring one child over the other. And, you know, I think it's an interesting verse later where it says Isaac's eyes are dim, you know, and the rabbis play with this. Does it mean, you know, yes, he's losing his eyesight, but to what extent does he not wish to see the family dynamic either, right? And so he, Rebecca helps Jacob to trick Isaac so that he gets the first blessing, right, on his deathbed. And Esau comes in, and it's now been given away. You can't take it back. And Esau cries. He cries, and it says, "Vayomer Esav el aviv," and Esav says to his father, "Habracha achat hi lecha avi? Is there only one blessing? Like, do you not have more blessings? Is there not more generosity within you? Barcheni gam ani avi, bless me too. Vayisa Esav kolo, and Esav lifted up his voice.
vayevk, and he cried. This is the second time, and he wept aloud. And then, of course, he gets a blessing, but part of it is that he's going to serve his brother, and for that he wants to kill him, and Jacob goes on the run. And so this was the part that that I wanted to share. It's from this book, Good Noticing. It's a book published by the Institute on Mindfulness, and this teaching is from Lauren Bloomer from Toronto, and I thought it was beautiful about how we speak to the other, how we speak and how we understand and how we can try to have compassion when things are contentious. He says, Lauren says to us, to this line, Vayisa Esav kolo, and Esav lifted up his voice, Vayevk, and he wept. The fierce hunter, bereft of his father's blessing, is reduced to weeping. And witness to his suffering, our hearts are invited to open. Right and wrong, guilt and innocence matter much less than they had a moment before. So might we open our hearts to strangers and intimates. For just as we might not have seen Esau's vulnerability beneath his bravado, so might the victims of our resentment have concealed their own yearning for blessing. A blessing it is in our power to bestow. In spite of our righteous anger, we can take a breath and another, and perhaps quiet ourselves and offer a blessing of peace, joy, loving kindness, compassion, or whatever is in us to give at this moment. Perhaps it will feel merely like words. Perhaps those words will shape a path to sincere intention. Then, the blessing having been offered, necessary conversations can begin from a more open-hearted place, and unnecessary confrontation can be left aside as we bring greater lightness into the world. So as they say, this is a very high madrega. This is a very high level of compassion. And for those of you who've taken part in the meditation sits and been part of blessing practice, it's known in Buddhism as metta, and we've kind of adapted it as blessing practice. We know that we move out in circles of blessing, and one of the people that we bless, we call the difficult person. So had our session today been a little less confusing technologically, what I wanted to get us toward was at the end of our time, taking a moment to dedicate the merit to the difficult other, to the person, maybe not the most difficult person in our life, but we have this possibility always at the end of our sitting practice, our yoga practice, to dedicate the merit, to offer the fruits of our practice, right? Generosity, nedivat lev. And we could offer that generosity to somebody with whom we're a little bit in contention. And then of course too, there's the offering to the parts of ourselves that are within contention, because within the cosmos of our own being, we have Isaac, we have Rebecca, we have Jacob, we have Esau, we have all those people and all those parts. So whether we offer it to the contention, to the difficult piece within, on the physical, the emotional, the mental level, or we offer it without to the other, we can use this as a practice of moving through contentious states. So that was more or less where I was going. I so apologize for the technical difficulty, and I'll try to get it straightened out for next week. So, because I will be here in Massachusetts still next week, but a blessing to each and all of you. And I'm here, and I'll you can unmute yourselves if you'd like to ask a question, and I'll stay for a little bit. If you have any questions about the practice we did today or your yoga practice in general.
Thank you, Lizzie. That was really lovely, Drash. Where are you in Massachusetts?
I'm in Mashpee, right at the beginning of Cape Cod, exit 2.
Is this your family home or something?
This is my parents' home for 50 years, but yeah.
Looks beautiful.
So, because we can work from Zoom or try to work from Zoom, well, my husband and I thought we would come here and stay for a little while.
Wow, I don't blame you. It's too beautiful not to. Well, thank you so much for everything. You do a good
Thank you.
Bye now.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank
Lizzie,
you.
are you in New Seabury? Sorry. Are you in New Seabury?
Yeah.
Oh, where?
Papaneset Island.
Oh, beautiful. Beautiful. I lived there for many years.
New Seabury?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
In the 80s and 90s. So long time ago on Little Neck Bay.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Right here. That's great.
And now I'm in the Berkshires, so I'm Massachusetts neighbor.
So Terry and I are covering end to end of Massachusetts, and Mona's somewhere in the middle.
Oh, perfect.
And I know we have some Bostonians among us too.
I'm in Western Mass.
Where are you, Rhonda?
I'm in Greenfield.
Oh, nice. I grew up in Springfield.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. All right. Massachusetts.
have a
is everybody-
About
is on-
Thanks, Lizzie.
You're
Lizzie,
welcome,
This-
Karen.
this is Mary Wujek, Lizzie.
Hi.
I'll just offer, I have, until recently, I worked for a company and we held meetings on WebEx, Zoom, Blue Jeans for years. And one of the things that we learned is it can be related to something you're doing when there's an internet dysfunction,
Oh,
or
it's
it can be
definitely
a
not
total, as you say in French, crapshoot. So the one thing we learned though is if there is someone, and I remember a colleague of mine who worked for an internet provider, he had twin middle school sons, and he said, I told them not to play video games while I was
Right.
in this meeting. So it can be anything.
You know what? Thank you, Mary. I think my husband he is also on a Zoom call currently. So I'm going to ask him to rework his schedule for next Monday if he can.
That
And
could be.
also, like somebody said, I think, yesterday we had yoga with under 20 people and we were fine.
Mhm.
It might be the number of people on the call, and maybe if people turn off their video next week. I don't, it's definitely my bandwidth, I think.
Yeah, I was on several meetings yesterday, and about halfway through the day, we started getting terrible winds, and that disrupted things too. So it really can be anything.
All right, well, we'll pray that we'll be okay. I spent half the day with Comcast yesterday, so.
Thank you so much for redoing that teaching. That really meant
Yes,
a lot
that's
to me.
great.
I want to
And-
make sure also that the internal external rotation of the thighs makes sense, because that's important. I want to build on that. That makes sense to y'all?
Not to me. I wasn't able to hear all of that.
Okay, well,
Yeah, I did not understand what you meant by that.
okay. So let me show you my arm. You can take your arm too. If I take my hand to my upper arm and I roll it out, you feel the whole movement of the bone and the muscles?
Yeah.
That's external rotation. Now take it and roll it in. And your palm starts to go to the wall. Internal. So internal, external. I'm making a gross movement, okay? Internal rotation, external. And I'm talking about the upper arm to the shoulder, the thigh to the hip, right? So in the case of the leg, it's the same. Roll it out, external. Tailbone tucking, sitting bone tucking under. Roll it in, internal. External, internal. Right? So when I take, you can see me, some internal rotation going this way. External rotation. Tree pose, external. All of these. Warrior, external. The thigh is rolling out.
Yeah.
Internal would be my knees starting to come forward, right? So this all has repercussions in the low back. Serious ones. So we'll keep working on it. But it's not rocket science, internal, external. It's just a matter of starting to hook into it. Does that make more sense?
Yeah, thank you.
What is the name of the book that you said that you were referring to?
Good noticing.
Good noticing.
I'll write it here in the chat. And it's definitely available through IJS, but it might be on Amazon too.
That was a very good teaching. I really related to that. And I think the key for me is to be aware enough to be able to bless somebody else in the middle of it all.
Huh.
You know, to have that capacity to bless somebody else when I'm feeling all the feelings inside.
When you're feeling all the feelings. Very, very well put, Shelley. And I think clearly something we're struggling with on a global level right now, right? So it kind of starts in here. We can pay attention in here and then start to move it out. And as I said, this is a very tall order right now. This is not easy.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of contention.
Thank you.
Great thing to remember. It's a great thing to try to remember, though.
Great thing to try to remember.
Yeah.
Lizzie, I have a question. When we were doing Baby Cobra and Sphinx, and you were saying put your heart, the way I interpreted it is basically to move either my hands backward and pull my body forward as I pull my hands back. Is that what you mean by?
Yeah, it's just like a sense of the hands aren't exactly moving necessarily, but the feeling is that the hands are moving away and the chest is like, you're like dragging the chest forward. And then you feel this incredible amount of opening across the collarbones, rather, Michael, than crunching in the low back to try to push up. It's always a lengthening. Does that answer? I didn't hear the first part of your question, so I totally answered you.
I meant, I don't mean physically moving my hand, but pulling, just.
Right, not physically moving, but just that feeling of pulling.
Yeah.
Yep. Shoulder blades together, collarbones widening.
Okay. And were you using the hotspot, your phone hotspot at any point today, or was it all Wi-Fi?
No, so cause yesterday I used the phone as a hotspot. Should I try that next week instead?
Yeah, I thought that's what you did in the middle, because it got better at the end.
No, I think it just got itself better. But if I use the phone as a hotspot, is it downloading too much information with 100 and some videos it's trying to deal with?
I don't know.
You don't know. Okay, I'll work on it this week. Okay, everybody. Yes, Suzanne.
Hi, this was a great class. Thank you. Will a recording be available? Because I missed so much of the beginning.
I'm not sure today's the class that you want the recording of, but IJS put up, so not all the recordings are available. Mostly we have them for internal purposes right now, but on the IJS website, if you go to the Shofar project, there are 4 yoga classes there, and they also loaded up the first 4 from Bereshit forward. So there should be 8 classes on the website.
Thank you.
Sure. I hope that helps, Suzanne.
Yes, thank you so much. It was wonderful. See you next week.
I'm glad. Okay, sweet friends. Stay
Bye.
well. Oh, yeah. I didn't know if that was a question. Okay. Stay well. Stay well.
Bye-bye.
Bye for now.
Very much. Thank you. It was beautiful.
You got it.
Thank you.
Bye.